BlackRock, earned stripes, you were there, and then how did you transition into kind of what you're doing now? But let's pause on that. I want to circle back on that. Okay. Tell me your favorite real estate quote, Ben, or a mantra that you've heard and you're like, yeah, that's the one for me.
You can't eat IRR. And so what do I mean by that?
Distributions.
So
that's my guess.
Well, I think just if you think about what an IRR is, it's a time-weighted return. But just because you could have a high IRR doesn't mean you're effectively making a lot of money. And so I invest in real estate because it provides durable income in the form of cash flow. It provides fantastic tax benefits in the form of depreciation, and it provides great overall returns in the form of appreciation as you go and sell an asset, right? And you realize that reversion value or that sell value. And then you could use other tax strategies such as a 1031 exchange to defer those gains and then continue to compound your cash on cash returns. So that's why real estate is so fantastic if in that model, and I might be biased.
It's also fun and addicting.
Yes. Any real estate guy is usually a deal junkie and loves real estate and loves talking about their own deals. But I think what sometimes gets construed in real estate is like, oh, what was the IRR?
Yeah.
And I can look at someone that says, oh, I'm projecting a 30% IRR in this deal. That doesn't mean anything to me because I want to understand what's the risk that you're taking associated with that IRR. And then also, what is the equity multiple? So for every dollar I put in, how much am I getting out? So a 1 equity multiple means I put in $1, I just got my dollar back. But if you have a 30% IRR and you have a 1.2, 1.3 equity multiple, you made 20 or 30 cents on your dollar, that could be fine. But did you sell the deal early? Was there more meat on the bones to then hold that deal? Yes, it's going to reduce your IRR because it's a time-weighted measure of return. But is this a better?
Is it a better investment?
Exactly. Then selling that deal, paying the taxes on it. You got your 20 or 30 cents. But what if I just continue to hold that? What is that compounding effect to then hold that? And so,
there are layers to capital raisers. There are layers to syndicators. There are layers to operators. There are layers to real estate people. Ben is an expert. As we were talking about being at BlackRock, earning his stripes, being in finance, now raising millions and millions of dollars, having conversations with his senior partner who is a serial entrepreneur, also an equity raiser, a capital raiser, and then the people who he associates himself with on a daily basis, the articles he reads. Guys, there are levels to this. IRR is something that's used and projected and thrown out there so much so guys can just get capital to go buy a deal. I'm not throwing anyone on the bus, but, to make an acquisition fee sometimes, they don't really understand what they're getting themselves into, et cetera, et cetera. You want to be working and putting your capital in with people who know what they're doing, that understand layers and have chosen a specific path to purchase deals in certain asset classes because of reasons why. And then when you ask them questions, they can explain those things to you systematically without batting an eye because it's where they're putting their money and there's a reason why. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, and I think just like going back and circling back to your last point, it's risk and reward. Reward's what we just talked about, the IRR, but what's the amount of risk you're taking?
Risk-adjusted returns.
Exactly right. And
asymmetrical returns.
Which I love asymmetrical returns, meaning that I'm taking less risk and I'm getting alpha, meaning I'm getting outsized returns for the amount of risk that I'm taking. And that's why I'm passionate about the asset class that I'm in, which is manufactured housing and manufactured housing communities. So I'm not investing in the actual home themselves, but we're buying the entire communities.
Also known as mobile home parks.
Correct. Yep. Or trailer parks, but we don't like to call them those, and we don't invest in trailer parks. The difference being that these are really nice facilities, affordable living for folks that are looking to, either in their retirement years, have a good retirement and pay less money and not share 4 walls like they would in, say, like an apartment asset, as well as having a sense of community. So we really pride ourselves on investing heavily on the front end to uplift the community and really elevate the quality of the park and community. And in return, our investors that invest with us, we share in that growth, whether it be rent growth or whether it be by infusing capital into the park and enhancing and, effectively adding value to it where someone would come in and pay a lower cap rate on it. And we're long-term holders. So we hold our deals anywhere between 6 to upwards of 10 years. And every time we sell a deal, we 1031 exchange and roll the entire proceeds into the up leg of the new deal, deferring all capital gains and just growing our cash flow. We're cash flow investors.
If you guys want to invest in long-term investments with strategic partners, operators, GPs who have a long history in this game, they know every single mobile home park, I would assume, or most mobile home park operators in the country, reach out to Comfort Capital. I am going to put Ben Schuster's information in the description. You guys make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. It helps get this information out there. Let's move forward a bit. We're going to talk about a couple things, okay? Why mobile home parks is one thing I want to dive into versus multifamily versus self-storage versus retail versus every other asset class out there.